During my time as an artist, I've dabbled in dedicated art challenges every once in a while. Be it short challenges like drawing 6 characters I like, or longer ones such as Inktober. 2024 is my third time attempting Inktober. My first time doing it in 2019 was great. I completed all of the prompts in my sketchbook and had a lot of fun. 2021, however, not so much. I missed the fourth or fifth day and just gave up, and I've been pretty creatively blocked for a couple of years, so I haven't really been trying to do any more art challenges. This year, though, as October neared and my peers started talking more about art challenges, I did a very quick Google search to find out what this year's Inktober prompts were. Yeah, I was not going to pass this challenge. I don't know, Inktober prompts just aren't really my thing, I guess, but as I scrolled through the images a bit more, finding a few interesting ones, I came across this one. 2022 Artober by @THIANAROJO on DeviantArt. So sorry if I botched that pronunciation, by the way. Most of the prompts seemed to be really good and manageable. Whatever I didn't like, I could just tweak to fit my taste better. It's all for fun anyways. Since drawing for 31 days straight can be quite challenging, I decided to go into this with the understanding that not all pieces would be on the same level of finish. I also went into this challenge with the knowledge that I might not be able to finish one prompt per day, so I told myself I would just catch up later. And judging by the date that this video drops, you can probably tell that I needed that extra level of relaxation. Who needs relevant topics anyways? Like I said, it's all just for fun. Artober's first prompt was Witch Sona, so of course, being the Owl House fan that I am, I had to take this opportunity to redesign Calvex, my Witch Sona from the show. I originally made this character for a school project, but he does have some lore. He started out on the Bard track at Hexside, but didn't really like it that much, so he switched to plants once he realized Bard wasn't his calling. Eventually, after the ban on multi-tracks was lifted, they began studying potions and illusions alongside plants. His palisman, Splotch, has changed from a spotted lop to a lop-eared Dutchy jackalope. Do lop-eared Dutch rabbits exist in real life? I don't think so, but this is a show with basilisks and griffins, so does it really matter? I kept Splotch's colors the same because I still wanted to keep that pet looks like their owner vibe. I also gave Calvex a little plant in his hair with a small bite mark taken out of it. I'm a lot happier with this design than I was with his previous one, so Artober is already off to a great start. Day 2 was pick a constellation. I thought about maybe drawing a zodiac sign or Betelgeuse, but I eventually settled on drawing Dipper Pines. And what is a sky without the North Star? So I also included Pacifica Northwest in this little sketch. I kept it pretty loose, just a sketch with coloring, and called it a day. Day 3 was It's October 3rd, since it was October 3rd. So naturally, I drew the Mean Girls scene that everyone was posting that day. I didn't really feel like drawing a background, but I loved the color and lighting study I got from it. I was also happy to get some more practice with translating real people to my cartoony art style, since that's something I've always struggled with. Day 4, a duo. Watch me try to go a few days without repeating the media I made fan art of. For this one, I made a little sketch of King and Francois from the Owl House. I kept it really simple, just as a little colored sketch of them, but I had fun with it nonetheless. Day 5 tasked me with drawing my current obsession. The issue is I rarely have just one obsession at a time. I was rewatching Harley Quinn at the time though, so I drew Harley Quinn and Poison Ivy from their animated show. They're just a really fun ship, so I was delighted to draw them for this prompt. A book character was day 6, and I don't know if this is just a skill issue, but I had a hard time thinking of a book character that would be interesting to draw. However, there was a book that came out this year that gave a lot of new lore to a beloved character, Bill Cipher from Gravity Falls. Spoilers for the Book of Bill incoming, by the way. I haven't read the whole thing yet, but I do know that it was revealed that Bill originated in a flat world and he was the only one who could see the stars. In an attempt to make his family see them, he ended up destroying his whole world. So I wanted to draw some baby Bill angst. I was so proud of this piece that I even posted a short about it. If you look into his big sad eye, you can even see the fragmented pieces of his parents. Day 7 was a werewolf, so I decided to do another redesign. A long time ago, I had a werewolf OC named Luna, and she had a very basic design to say the least. I'm no design expert, but I feel like I have improved enough to attempt a redo. So I started by modeling their design after a gray wolf, and they display alternative fashion. I used multiple references of both and ended up with Astrid. Their hair and fur colors are based off of the different colors gray wolves have. She has partial heterochromia in her left eye and loves Chappell Roan's music. By this point, I was a few days behind, so I wanted to catch up a little over the next few days. Day 8 was Word Generator, and after playing around on a word generator for a minute, I got Reach. So more angst and more Owl House. I drew a young Ida Clawthorne reaching out for her older sister as the Owl Beast takes over. I kept this one pretty simple for timing's sake, just as a sketch and some basic coloring. Well, it's a good thing I only have a few days worth of challenges to worry about while I catch up on the time I missed. Oh dear. So, Actually Ray put out a lower key Inktober style challenge this month, and who would I be if I resisted? I know I've only ever completed one Inktober challenge so far, but why not skip over 2 and make it 3, right? And I took on the Actually Infected challenge. This challenge is every 2 days, so the first prompt wasn't due until the 10th. Prompt number 1 was marker bleed, so I decided to draw Ray gruesomely feasting on markers. I kept the coloring on this piece pretty low key, just using an overlay over a Ray sprite and color picking from there. This also allowed the drawing to serve as a minor color study, which I found to be quite useful. Moving on to day 9 of Artober, the prompt was a wizard. I wanted to draw a cute little wizard, just a small little magical guy. But of course, I ended up doing a little bit more than drawing. I made a little animation. A small wizard guy gif. He is so cute, look at him. I'm still not super well versed in animating, but I had a lot of fun with this one. Day 10, based on a song. How the heck am I supposed to choose this? I know so many songs! I'm just teasing. Of course I had to go with a musical, and of course I had to choose Beetlejuice. For those of you who are unaware, I have many interests, but my main 3 remain to be Beetlejuice, The Owl House, and Alice in Wonderland. This will become more apparent as this challenge continues. Anyways, I drew my interpretation of Say My Name, arguably the most iconic song from Beetlejuice the Musical. On the roof, Beetlejuice floats as he pleads with Lydia, "Just let me in the game!" I kept the ideas of musical animatics in my head as I drew this, and I really like this one. It's so cute! And don't forget, now we have Actually Infected too, the second prompt from which was Corrupted File. So I drew Giffany from Gravity Falls. I had so much fun studying Giffany's colors with this piece. Her palette is so pretty. I love how this drawing turned out so much, especially with the pixel and glitch effects. This ended up being one of the drawings I was proudest of for this whole challenge. Day 11, a film scene. Well darn, now I just have Beetlejuice on the brain from day 10. Oh well, I decided to draw Lydia Dietz from the 1989 film in one of the funniest shots in the whole movie. I didn't draw it exactly true to her original expression, but I like to think that I got the idea down. By this point, I was only 1 day behind, and we were getting better with it. Day 12, Ouija. Now, I've been more open to a few things these last couple of years, tarot, crystals, etc., but I don't think you could ever catch me touching a Ouija board. Nope, not even the Beetlejuice-themed one, despite how cool it is. The idea of it just freaks me out a bit too much. So I'm not super well versed in them, and Ouija is a pretty limiting prompt for me in its openness. It's specific, but not enough to spark ideas. So I drew a goopy little ghost with some Ouija text around it, since that's all I had, and I still wanted to catch up. On to Actually Infected. Actually Infected Day 3 was misprint. Now I love stamp making using lino blocks. I kinda didn't like it at first, but I've honestly grown to love it since doing it myself. So I carved a little gingerbread logo, very small, and tried to misprint it. I drew some rough gingerbread shapes in my stamp sketchbook, and when I stamped it... Well, that's near perfect. That's not what we want. So I kept trying. A lot. And it wasn't perfection I was worried about anymore, no. I kept dropping the wet stamp. I was using the ink pad's lid to push it down evenly for some reason, which I didn't need to do for such a small stamp, and it kept sticking when I lifted the lid, but not long enough for me to move it out of the way or catch it before it fell onto my messy little prints. I guess it fits the theme though. Anyways, I had a lot of fun with this one, but I think I'll just take any excuse to make more stamps all the time. Artober Day 13 was A Witch Lives Here. Now, I love drawing landscapes and still lives, but not really in digital media. And for me, I wanted to use Artober to develop my digital skills since I was so blocked with it for so long. So I chose a black cat as my muse. I drew this little cat referencing a picture my friend sent, and I wanted to practice light and stylization. So I did, and I had so much fun with this lineless style. I love this drawing so much it might be my favorite from this challenge. Day 14, Living Dead. Ugh. I did not feel like drawing Resident Evil zombies right now. But Kit, why are you only thinking about your current interests? What about your childhood interests? Yeah, no, you're right. Ghoulia yelps from Monster High G1. A very bare-colored sketch, no shading, but it's a drawing, and I did have some fun with this one. Actually Infected Day 4 was scrapped. I didn't have any scrapped concepts I felt like drawing, so I needed another idea. I figured my Five Nights at Freddy's OC was due for another concept, so I drew him in his normal form and his shattered form. Not quite scrapped, but it's fine. Artober Day 15, your fave ship. Well, I have a lot of favorite ships, and I draw the Owl House a lot, so I needed to change. While Bregan isn't my favorite ship, I do really love their dynamic, whether platonic or romantic. In the spirit of shipping, though, I did draw them as romantic interests for this one. I like to think that Brett pines for Regan hard, but she is way too into her work to even notice his affections. Day 16 was... yeah, I'm not doing that. Sorry, Harry Potter fans, it's just not my thing. I did say I was gonna change stuff. As soon as I saw this prompt, I knew I had to go back to the Owl House for this one. Now with Calvix and Splotch's new redesigns, I drew a 2-panel unshaded comic of Calvix being a bit overexcited to greet the reader to Hexside. They just love making new friends. The 5th actually infected prompt was spilled ink. This one was kind of an interesting one because I knew exactly what I was going to do right away. I had gotten a bunch of art supplies as a gift, which included a couple of ink jars, and I happened to have a quill pen. So I grabbed my watercolor sketch pad and spilled drops of my brown ink all over it. Wow, that was a lot. That's probably pretty expensive. I should get it off. Yes, I really tried to scoop ink back into a pot by using a tiny calligraphy pen tip. Not my finest moment. Defeated, I tipped the sketch pad upwards so all the ink ran to the inner edge and used that as a funnel. I didn't spill a drop, but I did lose the adorable heart-shaped island of ink that had formed, and the other little spots have now become pseudopods of this large wet blob. I went to bed for the night, and the next day I looked at it and tried to draw over what I saw. A bird on a post and a girl with big pants and shoes. Not my best piece, but it was a fun experience. Artober Day 17 was tarot cards. This is right up my alley. I love tarot cards. I have a few decks, but my favorite right now is the Tarot of the Divine set. Its art is based on folklore and fairy tales from many different cultures, and the descriptions of the cards even explain the basic stories a little to understand why each card was given that art. Anyways, at the time of drawing this, it was the full moon, so I drew the tarot card the Moon. The card is all about misunderstandings and illusions, which I thought was very interesting. I kept this one very simple, but I kind of loved the simple lineless style while making it. I had a lot of fun with this one. Day 18, a demon in 2008. When I searched up 2008 demons, my results were uninspired. I just wasn't feeling it, you know? I asked around for suggestions, and someone suggested a demon wearing clothes from 2008. So back to fashion references I went. She is that girl, for sure. I probably won't be using her as a character, but I might still want to name her just for fun. Back to actually infected, the 6th prompt was analog film. I was again feeling uninspired. This wasn't a medium I was familiar with, and I didn't know how to depict it in my art. So I just drew a roll of film, I made it all ripped up, and I gave the roll some blurry images. It was okay, but definitely not one of my favorites. By this point, I had realized that I was definitely not going to get caught up by the end of the month on both challenges, and I was getting pretty tired. So I made a decision. I was going to focus my attention on Actually Infected because it was more of a community thing, and I could finish Artober later on. So we're gonna stop switching between them in the video. Sorry for the inconsistencies. The 7th prompt was Broken Model, which I was skeptical of. What could I do for this? I don't use 3D models. I don't draw fashion models. I was confused. But like I said earlier, I love depicting still life in my art. And as luck would have it, my favorite sculpture is actually broken. Winged Victory of Samothrace, or Nike of Samothrace, is a sculpture that was made from Parian marble in circa 200 to 190 BC. It was discovered much later, broken into pieces. Not every piece has been recovered, and some are hidden away safely because they can't be reattached, such as fingers. This sculpture is displayed in the Louvre in Paris, France, and I actually had the absolute honor of seeing it in person. This sculpture is so beautiful, and I think for me, most of that beauty comes from its damage. I wanted to study it and its light, so that's what I did. I'm really happy with how this one turned out. The 8th prompt was Tangled Thread. I immediately thought of Spider-Man and those scenes where he gets entangled in his own webs, so I used that as my inspiration. And I used this as an opportunity to finally create a spider-sona. I was gonna go for a fairy thing with plants at first, but I was really liking the bee idea since my Sona Clover is a fairy with bee wings. So, meet Spider Bee. After coming up with my design and making a character reference, I dove straight into my main drawing for this prompt. Since Spider Bee has honey webs, I wanted to draw them stuck to a web for this one. Less tangled thread and more sticky web, I guess. My idea behind this drawing is that this is when Bee is first getting used to their new powers and identity as a superhero. The 9th prompt was Blue Screen. I don't quite remember at this point what my thought train was, but I think I ended up with this result pretty quickly. I really wanted to draw Calculister from Monster Prom. He's such a little cutie patootie. I don't know why I drew him in this outfit specifically, maybe it was just easier, or maybe in the spirit of Halloween costumes. Either way, studying the monster prompt style was so fun for this prompt. I ended up making 2 versions, one with a blue screen and one with his regular face, for a bit of self-indulgence. Here it is, the final prompt for Actually Infected. Number 10 was anomalies. I considered doing another Gravity Falls drawing, but time was quickly running out and ideas were running thin. So I drew something based off of the original Infection AU, My Little Pony. I drew Princess Cadence based on the episode where King Sombra infects the Crystal Empire with his dark crystals. I don't really have much to say about this, so I guess that's a wrap on Actually Infected. And without further ado, back to our regularly scheduled Artober. Day 19! It's Wednesday! It was, in fact, not a Wednesday, but that's okay. I tried to watch Wednesday when it dropped, but I just couldn't get into it. I do think Enid is absolutely adorable though, and her dynamic with Wednesday seems pretty cute from what I've seen. I'm very interested in their Monster High dolls though. I drew the girls together, call it a ship or don't. Like I said, I know nothing about these two or their interactions. I just see people like their dynamic and it seems pretty neat. White cat and black cat vibes. Day 20, your choice. Happy Halloween! For this one, in the holiday spirit, I drew my Sona Clover wearing my costume makeup. I was dressed up as Lydia Dietz this year because it's a really fun cosplay and I'm constantly finding more accessories to improve it. So here's a spooky version with makeup and one without. Day 21 is a modern vampire. Happy November! By now I was definitely just letting myself chill with this, especially because I had a few extra things going on this month. For this one, as a little nod to June for giving us Actually Infected, I drew one of their characters, Hisako. There's not really much more to this one. I did really enjoy the color palette though. Day 22, Greek mythology. I'm not super privy to mythology, to be honest. I have a bracelet based off of Apollo because he's the one my friend said I'm most similar to, but that's kind of it. I was going to just try, but it was proving difficult to find references of these mythological figures that I know so little about. So then I got the idea to draw Cerberus before remembering I suck at drawing dogs. So Chibi Puppy it is. I drew out the Cerberus, then brought the PNG into an animation canvas to animate a little wagging tail. So sleepy and peaceful. Day 23 is a fairy. Oh, this one is so on brand for me. I was hoping to have Clover's updated character reference in the works enough to be able to finish it for this prompt, but that's been a bit of a slow process, so I moved on to doing something simpler. And I made this. I kept it really simple and quick for this day, but I think it's still kind of pretty. Day 24, we're almost there, and it's an old bookshop. You know what? This is a great excuse for me to practice with the rulers and brushes in Ibis Paint. I'm still pretty new to the program, and it has so many brushes that I didn't really want to scroll through, but I did end up finding a book brush that I liked, so I used that for the shelves. Thank goodness I did not want to draw all this by hand. I used a filter layer to make it all more monochromatic to fit the low lighting, and that was that for 24. Day 25 was OC's in costume. Well, I already drew Clover in my costume makeup, and I didn't really want to draw him in Lydia's outfit, so I had to think. Most of my characters are just various fansonas of myself, but there was a character I redesigned earlier in this challenge that could use some more personality. I asked around a bit and brainstormed for a while before deciding on making Astrid's Halloween costume into Jigsaw, specifically the puppet version. I sketched out a concept and got to work. I had a lot of fun with this one, pushing back their hair and giving them makeup, plus drawing her on the tricycle was absolutely hilarious. This is honestly one of my favorite character designs ever, and I love how they look in this costume. The prompt was super fun. Day 26 was creepy cute. Coraline was just one of my introductions into horror as a kid. I really liked it. Some scenes startled me a bit, but honestly, it was a great intro to broadening my horizons to less comfortable media. I really like this movie, and I think it's a great watch. So I depicted the little dolly that YB gives to Coraline. I colored its eyes black at first, but then I made some other colors to match an audio from the movie that I wanted to use for a short. I had a lot of fun with the rendering style of this, which is kind of what I've been mainly exploring lately. 27, they're ghost hunters. I was at a loss here, honestly. The drawing doesn't fit the prompt the best, but somewhere I got the idea to draw Lydia Dietz if she was in the Owl House, so I was doing that for my own enjoyment before realizing that if I added in Beetlejuice as a ghost, it could kind of fit the prompt. So that's what I did. I actually had a lot of fun designing Beetlejuice as a ghost in the style of the Owl House. We don't see specters that much in the show because none of the main characters really study oracle magic. The ghosts appear as these translucent purple beings with bandages all over them and these white eyes and spiky mouths. So I designed Beetlejuice with the Broadway hair as inspiration, and the face more resembles that of the cartoon Beetlejuice because it fits the style better. I also changed his body type to match the cartoon. Day 28 was teens in the 90s. Now, fun fact, my mother was a teenager in the 90s. So I asked her, she sent me her school picture from 10th grade and I got to work. I've mentioned it before, but I really struggle with translating real people to cartoons. I don't know why, it's just kind of hard for me to do in my current art style for some reason. So I saw this as an opportunity to combat this issue. I don't really have much to say about this one. It's not my favorite piece from this challenge, but it's also not my least favorite. She seemed to really like it though, so that's all that matters to me. The 29th prompt was Overgrown Garden. For this prompt, I got a little more creative. I wanted to try and further develop my concepts for Clover's house. When I redesigned my persona to be a fairy, I came up with some fairy lore. Maybe I could talk about it more another time, but as of right now, we are already 10 pages into this script and I don't want to get too off topic at this point. Basically, Clover is one with nature. All fairies are, at least in this context. So I always wondered what kind of homes they would have. I think that Clover would want to live in a tree since he is more aligned with plants. However, Clover isn't very small. I mean, they are a certified short king, but they're still human-sized, and I don't know about you, but I can't fit inside of most trees very comfortably. So I did a bit of digging, and I found that giant sequoias are some very big trees. Like, not enough for a party on one floor, but if Clover hollowed one out, he could have a pretty nifty home. I had actually conceptualized this months ago, but I took the time to develop it further now. I sketched out a tree with a walkway and a door, as well as some other trees in Fey Forest, and I planned out where each room would go. I then sketched out what I think each room would look like. I'm not super consistent right now if the furniture would be huge nature objects or regular furniture, but I think I just want to keep it as human furniture with a whimsical flair to it. I tried to make a spiral staircase work with the idea that Clover would fly through it anyways, but it always felt so bulky, so I compromised by making it a retractable spiral staircase made of lily pads and vines. There are 8 rooms in total: the main foyer, the kitchen, the guest room, the lounge or living room, the bathroom, the bedroom, the art studio, and their trinket room. Above that, the rest of the tree is free real estate for any birds or squirrels who want to live there. The concept could definitely use some extra tweaking, but honestly, I'm super happy with this, and I'm pretty excited to develop it further. Day 30, fan art. Wait, I was supposed to be drawing original characters this whole time? Kidding. But this was a bit of a weirdly flexible prompt compared to the last few. However, I was in an Alice in Wonderland mood that day, so I wanted to try drawing this concept I've had for a while now. It's really simple, but I was never able to execute it how I wanted to. But honestly, I think it turned out so cute. I mean, just look at them! I'm really proud of this one. Day 31! We made it! We've reached the end! The prompt was Halloween. No! By now, it was already 3 weeks into November, and I had pretty much run out of OCs to draw in costume. I guess I could have done Ricky or Thorn, but Thorn is too busy hating himself, and Ricky is too busy being dead, and I'm too busy trying to finish this challenge to use my brain for another minute. Instead, I wanted to draw what I did for Halloween. I celebrated a bit differently this year, and that included carving turnips, which I had a lot of fun with. I didn't want to draw a scene though, so I tried to draw a pumpkin-head girl with a carved turnip, got kind of frustrated with it, then remembered Monster Prom again. So here's Jacqueline from Monster Camp. Look at her, she's so cute! This one was really fun, but I was mostly just so happy to be done with this challenge. I'm just tired. So, in the end, you might be thinking, Kit, this is cool and all, but why are you posting about October art challenges months after they're relevant? What's the point here? Well, there are 2 reasons. Number 1 is I obviously ran out of time. So fast. But number 2 is that art challenges aren't supposed to be stressful. They're fun. I chicken out of Inktober every year because it's too many drawings for too many days, but by taking the time aspect out of it, I had a lot of fun with it. Just like I had a lot of fun talking about it. It still tuckered me out, but the more relaxed experience with it is encouraging me to do more art challenges. And if you really think about it, I did a 2022 Artober challenge, so technically I was already 2 years late by the time I started. I went into Artober this year purposefully to make a video out of it because I've been enjoying making shorts, but I can't devote all my time to drawing challenges or editing. And that's okay, I'm doing this for me. Moral of the story is, if you missed out on Inktober this year, no you didn't. You can draw every day, whatever time of the year you want to. You can change the prompt list. You can use old prompt lists. You can make your own prompt lists. You don't even need to draw every day, let alone finish a whole illustration every day. For a lot of us, that's not feasible, and nobody is going to fault you for it. Go at your own pace. It's your art, and you deserve to have fun with it. Hi, hello. Thank you so much for watching. I'm so excited for this video to come out. I've been working on it for months, and it's just so exciting to finally see it done. This video not only took me longer, but it actually ended up being a lot longer than I expected. Like, I didn't expect it to be much longer than my art fight one, but here it is, 3 times longer. But that's okay. I had so much fun with it, and I learned a little bit of patience with making longer form videos. I feel like I've been having so much fun lately with my art and like editing it like this and making videos out of it, like either long form videos like this or my more frequent shorts. And I feel like I definitely learned from this art challenge, even if it was a bit ago now. I learned more about rendering, filters and overlays, IBIS Paint, and overcoming perfectionism in my art. Even though I'm nowhere near perfect at any of these, progress is still progress, and I'm really proud of myself for how far I've come so far. I don't really post a lot of my art on social media, but if you did want to see some stuff, I try to post my art on Blue Sky and Kara. Links are in the description, you know, if you feel so inclined. Anyways, I don't really have much more to say than that, so thanks for watching! Have a good day! Bye!